your country, China, there has been a great deal of concern over the bubble. Bad things will happen.
I think you American people worry too much about the China economy. Well, you see, every time when you start to worry about China, China goes better.
Europe and in the United States. There has been a great deal of talk about your country, China. There has been a great deal of concern about whether the biggest movement of people out of extreme poverty into the global middle class in history, but done it in a way that overheated the economy, leading to the current difficulties. With the effort to achieve the Millennium Development Goals, which just expired, in reducing extreme poverty. And basically what we're finding is, when most of us believe this can only be made better by working closer together. So first, I'd like to ask you, given the incredible advances in technology in the last few years and the likelihood of the pace only accelerating, problems like the current problem in China are less likely. That is, if we'll have more market information and the market will drive where the investment goes. There has been a great deal of concern over the bubble. Bad things will happen.
I think last week I was in Seattle discussing about the China economy. I think you American people worry too much about the China economy. Well, you see, every time when you start to worry about China, China goes better. Every time you think China is in problem, we'll get better. But when you have to say, you have a high expectation of China, China always a problem. But there's a big difference between American consumption, because people say, well, the economy is bad, so China consumption will be good low. No, totally different. You Americans love to spend tomorrow's money. And the other people's money, maybe. Or maybe the children's money. We Chinese love to save money. We are probably the largest country, the safe deposit in the whole world because we've been poor for so many years. When we make money, we put in the banks, because someday we know the disaster is coming, so we can spend the money. So when the economy is bad, we still have the money to spend. You guys probably don't. You worry. And the second thing is that China been focusing on developing for the past 30 years. China government so strong on investment, so strong on exporting, but they are too weak on the domestic consumptions. Domestic consumption is not driven by government, it's driven by entrepreneurship, driven by the market, not the government. So in the past 20 years, government is so strong. Now they're getting weak. It's our opportunity. It's our showtime to see the market economy, entrepreneurship, how we can develop the real consumption. I think if the China develop the great consumption, we have a 300 million middle class. In next 15 to 20 years, we're going to 500 million middle class. We need to import a lot. So when we start to import, that's a great. I worry a lot when we export. When we export, we got a terrible sky, we have a terrible water, we have a terrible environment. When we start to import, we got to be better. So that's all the great opportunity, guys. Be happy about that. I'm serious.
I agree with that.
I'm serious. Yeah. Worry about yourself. Don't worry about the others.
The reason some of us worry about China is we depend on you to buy our debt. However, I tried to be more Chinese when I was president. I saved a lot of money. So,
good.
I really believe that. I mean, I think you're absolutely right. The trend toward greater internal consumption I think, will remain unbroken in spite of whatever the difficulties are in the next few months. I think it's important not to overreact. You can't break the trend.
Yeah, I am a strong believer that technology can make world much better. People say China economy is getting slower. I'm happy about the 7%, even 5%. Even 5% of the GDP of the number of China, of the second largest economy, is big enough. But you don't expect China to keep on growing 11%. Because like one human body, when you're 1.8 meters tall, you cannot keep on like a 10% grow every year. You have to grow the quality, your mind, the wisdom. So I think China needs new technology to solve these problems. All these things that China is supposed to do, if we keep on the old ways, we'll go nowhere. This is why I feel excited, because people ask me, what is your dream now? Because I never thought I would be today. I can sit here talking to President. I think today people worry a lot about the world, about the economy, China economy in the world, but I'm very optimistic. When people start to worry, that is the opportunity is. And I like your American movie, life is like a box of chocolate. You never know what you're going to get, right? So I'm pretty optimistic. The opportunity in the future for equality is huge. One of the reasons why we grow in China e-commerce so fast, much faster than the USA, because I never thought, because of the technology, because the internet gave me this opportunity. So I'm thinking 1.4 billion people who were born in 1980s, they are the people of the internet times. They are going to have new ways to solve the world problems. The things you are worried about today, they can solve it. And human beings have these kind of worries for centuries. And young people can always solve it. And today, when you have a right direction, clean energy, the climate change, all these issues, they will be solved, and these are the great opportunities ahead of us. And today, nobody live in this century has so many opportunities and so many tools they can use to change other people's life. And I think in this century is called the DT time, data technology. That's why we were born in this century. That's why how we can use the internet to help more people.
Let's give him a hand. Thank you.